Right, hello everybody, Sheila back. I'm back with another tutorial. This time it's going to be a 16-inch Blackberry stitch. A lot of people call this bubble and a lot call it Blackberry, and I'm one of the ones that call it Blackberry, and I'll always call it Blackberry, so I'm not arguing with anyone. But anyway, I've cast on 49 stitches and I've knit 6 rows in 1x1 twisted rib, and I'm sure everybody will know twisted rib now, but you just knit into the back of the knit stitch. That's my 49 stitches. I've knit 6 rows in the rib, and then I knit 6 rows before I started the bubble, which is what I've done here. And the row I'm going to do here is this row. I've done this row, that row. There's a second row actually. But to do this bubble stitch, you need 6 rows of plain knitting. And I'll blow it up so you can see better. And I should have started with the first row, but I'm actually onto the second part of the row, but I'll tell you that afterwards. And then what I'm starting with this one is going to knit 2. Now, to knit the first 2 stitches. Now this is called knitting 5 below. When you do that, you take that stitch there off the needle and drop it down, and then you pull out 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches, and you put your needle into that 5th stitch down like that and bring it underneath all those stitches that you've just dropped. So you now have 5 stitches on the needle. That's why it's called 5 below. And you knit all those stitches together. As you can see, they've all been picked up there, and then you knit 1, 2, 3. Put some wool off. And then you go into the next stitch and do the same again. Take that stitch off the needle, take 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches out, put your needle into that 5th stitch down and bring it underneath those other 4 stitches that you dropped. So you now have 5 stitches on the needle. And if you keep your finger on that stitch that you've just picked up and brought the needle under the other ones, that'll help keep them all together. And you just knit through the whole lot of the stitches. So that's those picked up again. And you knit another 1, 2, 3 stitches. You drop that next stitch down for 1, 2, 3, 4. Put your needle into that 5th stitch down underneath those 4 stitches that you've dropped, and then knit them all together, and then knit 3, and do that all the way across the row. So on to the last 3 stitches. So I'm going to drop that 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches down, pick up that 5th stitch underneath all those stitches and knit the last 2 stitches. So that's the 4th row, the 4th Blackberry row, and now I'm going to knit, there'll be 5 stitches, 5 more rows where I'm going to purl and knit. So they're just going to be stocking stitch. So I've knitted the 6 rows, or 5 rows actually. There's actually 6 rows to the pattern, so 5 rows of stocking stitch. Put a bit more wool out here. And this pattern, the berry I'm going to do now is actually the start, the one I did down here, which I knit too many. I should have only knit 2 when I came to do the tutorial, but I did 3. So, but I'll show you the written pattern in a moment. So to start off the Blackberry pattern, I'm knitting 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches, because you can't knit a 1. You would need to knit a 1 at the very start there, but you can't do it at that start part there. So you knit 4 stitches, and as you can see, the center stitch for the berry, that's the center stitch there. It's going down in the middle of those 3 stitches where the last berry was. So you're picking that one up to drop. We're picking 1, 2, 3, 4, and again put your needle into the 5th stitch down. Make sure you pick the whole stitch up, because sometimes the needle can go through like I have there. And bring it underneath all 4 stitches, and then you're knitting those 5 stitches together, and then go on again. 1, 2, 3, pick it up, drop that stitch again. 1, 2, 3, 4, put your needle through the 5th stitch, pick all stitches up together. It's 1, 2, 3. I'm now knitting my last 4 stitches. And that's how the pattern goes. People think it's complicated, but it's only 1 row in 6 that you're actually doing the pattern on. So you're actually got 5 rows of ordinary stocking stitch, and I need to knit that to 5 inches. So I am up to the armholes now, and I have knitted 3 rows after the last pattern, and I've left the last 2 rows of the plain stocking stitch to do the decrease on the well, the cast off stitches. So I'm going to cast off 3 stitches at each end. That's 1, 2, 3, and then knit to the end of this row. And I'm afraid there's some shadow over my hands tonight because it's night time and I have the light on doing this, and I can't leave this till morning time because it means I won't be able to do any more of the knitting of it. So I'll meet you at the end of that row. And I'm almost at the end of this row. Last 3 stitches. And I'm going to cast 3 stitches off purlwise. One, 2, 3, and then purl across to the end of that row. Now I'll meet you at the end of that row. And last 3 stitches on that row. Now I'm going to knit 2 rows in pattern before I start the decreasing on the thing. So you have to find out where you're putting the stitch. And as I've told you before, you find that is the center of the berry, and that is the center stitch. There, you follow that stitch up to the needle there. So that means you have to knit 1 stitch and drop that stitch down 4 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, and knit them all together, and then do 1, 2, 3 stitches, and there's your next stitch there, the center of the berry. 2, 3, 4, pick that stitch up, and the other 4, and then knit 3, and then carry on to the end of the row until you've done that with all those stitches for the pattern. And now on to the last few stitches here. It's 1, 2, 3, and we're going to drop that last one there, stitch down there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes these stitches stick together. That's it. Knit 1. And now I'm going to get some wool out first and purl across this row. And that's the end of that purl row. And now the next is a decreasing row, and it'll be decreased on every alternate row after this. So you're going to knit 1, slip 1, knit 1, and then pass that slip stitch over, and then knit 2 the last 3 stitches. Put some wool out again, I'm running out. I'm a very quick knitter. I'm quite a quick knitter actually. Well, I never thought I'd be self-employed actually. No, I do yeah, I get quite a bit from YouTube as well. And pause. Now at the last 3 stitches, and we're going to knit 2 together. And knit 1. And that's how we're doing the decrease. And we're going to decrease until there are 17 stitches left. But each time you do the decrease, when you come to pick up these, or to drop the stitch for the berries, it won't be in the same place every time, where that time where you started this was knit 1 and then drop 1. It could be knit 2 and drop 1, or knit 3 and drop 1, because it comes in a different place as you're shaping doing the shaping up to the neckband. So that's what I've done for that up to now, and this is what I've written from where I told you to how to do the pattern, and then to repeat these 12 pattern rows until work measures 5 inches, was what I've done. And that for me, that was 38 rows. I have got some other things written in for some other sizes, because I know what stitches and what size and all that, but until I actually knit them, all the instructions aren't here for the other sizes yet. So for the armholes, I've cast off 3 stitches at the beginning of next 2 rows, then knit 2 more rows, and the next row, which is the decreasing row, slip 1, knit 1, pass slip stitch over, pattern to last 3 stitches, knit 2 together, knit 1, and then purl the next row, and then you're going to decrease each end of every following alternate row until you have 19 stitches remaining. And then place these stitches onto a stitch holder, and I'll be back after I get that far. This is the back finished. I knit up to 5 inches, which was 40 rows for me, and then did the decreasing, knit 2 rows after the cast off stitches, and then decreased on alternate rows till I had 17 stitches left, and I put them on a holder. So that's the back finished. And this is the left front, and I've cast on 23 stitches using 3.25 needles, and I've knit 6 rows, and then I've done 2 lots of the Blackberry, and I'm going to show you, and I've knitted the 6 rows, so I'm going to show you the stitches from this row and that row. Get a lot of wool out first because it uses up quick, this pattern. So I started off with knit 1 and then knit 5 below. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure I get the whole stitch there. I don't think I missed a bit down there. So I'm going to knit those 5 stitches together now. It's a bit awkward when you have just one stitch at the start and the end, but it's okay for the rest of it because you're a bit close to the edge there. I knit 1, 2, 3, drop that stitch down below again. 1, 2, 3, 4, pick all 5 up. 1, 2, 3, and repeat that to the end of the row. And we're on to the last berry. 1, 2, 3, 4. These rather awkward on this when there's only one stitch left on the end. You have to be a bit more careful. And knit all together and knit the last stitch. So that's another row, and now I'm going to knit another 5 rows and stocking stitch. And now I'm on to the next set of berries, so I'm going to show how those ones are done. The last set we started off with knit 1, this time it's knit 3. And as you know, that's the centre stitch and the last berry down. You look for the centre stitch up to the needle, which is that one. So going to drop that one down 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then knit 1, 2, 3. Drop the berry down again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3. I'm on to the last berry, part of the berry here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pick all 5 stitches up and knit your last 3 stitches. And that's how that goes, and I'm going to knit that until it measures the same as the the back. Not far to go. So it's 40 rows up to the armhole, and then I'll come back and show how to do the shaping. So I've knit the left front up to the armholes, and I've knitted 4 rows after the berry. So now I'm going to cast off 3 stitches, the same as I did on the back. 1, 2, 3, and then knit across that row. It's at the end of that row. 3 more rows, and then I'll be decreasing on the left side for the armhole. This next row is a 5 below row, but there's no decreasing on this because I don't decrease until I finish this row and the next row, and then it's every alternate row. So I'm going to find out where the berry goes. It's that 3rd stitch in. So I'm going to knit 2 stitches, and there you can see that center stitch, the center stitch there in the berry, the middle of the berry. That's the one I'm going to drop down. So pick the stitch up and knit 3, and then repeat those stitches across the row. And the last berry at the end of the row. 1, 2. It's a bit hard being only 1 stitch left on the end there. It's that one done, and then knit the last stitch, and then I'm going to purl across the next row. So the next row I'm going to decrease, and then every alternate row after that until there's 12 stitches left on the needle. So we're going to knit 1, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, and then just knit across that row, and carry on decreasing like that until you have 12 stitches left. So I've kept on decreasing and I now have 12 stitches. So you're going to finish on a right side row and start on the wrong side and cast off 3 stitches. One, 2, 3, and finish purl along that row. Now the next row is another one where you drop 5 below, but you're going to decrease on the armhole edge as usual, and on the next 3 rows on the neck edge. So we're going to knit 1, slip 1, knit 1, pass a slip stitch over, and the next where you drop down the 5 is that stitch there. So you're going to knit 1, drop that 5 down, 1, 2, 3, and pick up from the 5th stitch, 5 below. Then we're going to knit 2 together through the back of the loop. And then the next row, going to purl 2 together. This is neck edge. Purl to the end. It's starting to get a little bit dark in here and it's only 3 o'clock. It spoils the videos. And the next row, do your decrease. Slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over. Knit 1, knit 2 together through the back of the loop. So that's your 3 decreasing you've done on the neck edge. And carry on just at the armhole until you have 2 stitches left. These needles keep clattering on the bench. Slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, knit 1, purl that row, next row, knit 1, slip 1, knit 1, pass that slip stitch over, and the next row you're going to purl 2 together. That is that. There's some scissors here. Leave a length of wool to sew. Cut that off. Just pull it through and tie it off. So that's the left front done. So we now have the back, the left front, and I've already done the right front. So I just have to do the sleeves now. So I'm onto the sleeve now. I'll blow it up a little bit so you can see. And I cast on, using 325mm needles, I cast on 28 stitches. And I knit 6 rows in 1 by 1 rib. But on the 6th row of the rib, I increased 3 stitches. Even put 1 at each end and 1 in the centre somewhere. I just evened it out across the row so that I had 31 stitches, because this pattern needs an odd number of stitches to keep it right on both sides. And then I knit the 6 rows before I started the berry part. I knit the 6 rows, but on the 5th row I increased 1 stitch on the 5th row, and then I increased the rest of the way up the sleeve on every 10th row after that. So the first sort of the bubble, I won't show how to do this bubble again because I've shown it a few times in the video and I think you'll have got it by now. So I knit 4 stitches to start off with, and then did the 5 below, and then knit 3 stitches, the 5 below, and knit 3 stitches, and did that all the way across the row to the last 4 stitches, and I knit that 4. And the next, then I knit another 6 rows, and then the next berry part was knit 2. I think it's what I've got here, I'm checking. Yes, it was knit 2 stitches, 5 below, knit 3, 5 below, knit 3. So that's how the pattern goes on. It's, you start off with 4 and then it went to 2, but then it changed as you go, as you're adding the extra stitches. You know, you have to work it out as you go up, where I've shown you how to find where you need to put the bubble, is find the center stitch, and that's where you place the stitch for the berry. So I have kept increasing until I had 39 stitches, and now I'm ready to do the decrease on the cast off stitches and the decrease. So I've knit 4 of the rows. I'm onto the 5th row of the plain stocking stitch, and I'm going to knit 3, well, cast off 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to knit across to the other side. This is the last 2 rows of the stocking stitch. Yeah, I'll pause that. The last 3 stitches. And now I'm going to cast off 3 stitches on the purl side. One, 2, 3, and then I'm going to purl across that row. So those are the two edges, cast off edges done, and the next row is a berry row. So I'm going to knit 2 more rows before I start the decreasing. So this one I have to find out where I'm going to put the berry. So it's like I said, find the center stitch here, work it up to the needle. That's the center stitch there, so that's the one I'm going to do the berry on. So I'm going to knit those first 2 stitches. And then drop that one down. Sometimes this wool sticks together, which has happened here. The hairiness of the wool, for some reason it seems to stick together and you've got to separate it. And then I'm going to knit the 3, 1, 2, 3, and that again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and there, and carry on across that row like that. So that's 2 more rows I've knitted. Now I'm going to start the shaping. So I'm going to knit 1, slip 1, knit 1 and pass that slip stitch over. Then I'm going to knit to the last 3 stitches. And my last 3 stitches I'm going to knit 2 together and knit 1. And that's how the decreasing will go. I'll be knitting to the 4th row, and then on every alternate row after that until I have 9 stitches left on the needle. I'll come back when I have 9 stitches left. So that's the sleeve finished. Now I have all the other parts here, back, the other sleeve and the 2 fronts, and we are going to pick up the stitches for all of these now. Yeah, pull off some wool from the ball. And you start with the right front. You're going to pick up 10 stitches here. That's one. Two, three, four. And that's three. And you have a bit of a hole here, so I'm going to go into the stitch next to it. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You might have a little bit trouble finding the places to put these stitches, but so that's 10 that I've picked up there. Then I'm going to pick up 9 from the sleeve. That's 1, 8, 9, and then it's 17 from the back. One, 2, 3, 4, 16, 17. It's a 17 from the back, 9 from the other sleeve. One, 2, 8, 9. And next we're going to get another 10 from the other front. One, 2, 3, 4, 9, 10. That's a 10 in there. And now we're going to knit the first row. So I've knit this row. I'm going to do knit 1 by 1 twisted rib, the same as what I've done for the edges. I'm going to do that for 4 rows and then I'll be casting off. Now I'm casting off the last few stitches now. Very simple job. Just lifting one stitch over the other all the time, where everyone knows how to do that. That's that done. Need to cut off the little bit of wool. Pull it tight. And then the next job will be sewing up. And I'm going to get some lunch first, so I will come back and show you the sewing up in a few minutes. A lot of people sew up before they put the neckband on, but I like to put the neckband on first because you get a lot of slackness where the threads are hanging, where I pull them tight like that. So I always like to put the neck on first, and then I can pull all those stitches tight around the neck so you don't get any loose loops around the top. Right, so I have my pin cushion with all my pins and needles in, and I'll find my sewing needle I like. I don't like those big thick chunky ones for sewing with. I like quite a thin. It's quite a thin needle I like to sew with, as long as the hole is big enough for the wool. That's all I'm bothered about. So I'll have to cut a little bit of... Oh no, I don't have to cut any out. I thought I'd lost my pin there. I'll first have to pin the pieces together. It's a bit of trouble getting the wool through the eye of the needle. I go through there, that's it. And now when I sew up these seams, I do a flat seam, flat stitch them, and that is just picking up a stitch from either side. And sewing them like that. And that's how I do all the seams, the Raglan seams. So you get a nice flat seam on the other side, if you look. So I have 4 seams like that to sew up. And then I will show how I do the sides and the sleeves. Now I'm doing the cuffs, and I'm going to flat stitch those, the ribbing on the cuffs on the sleeves. And now I'm going to back stitch the sleeves. Pin them first. And the back stitch, you just keep going behind the stitch you've just made. That's called back stitching. You come out in front of the stitch and the needle goes back behind the stitch. And that's how you do the flat stitch, the ribbed parts, and back stitch the rest of the seams. So I have to do that to the sides and the sleeves, and then I'll be back and showing you how to pick up the stitches for the bands. Right, so the cardigan's all sewn up, and I have picked up the stitches for the band on one side, and I've started picking up the stitches for the other band, but I'll show you how far and how many you need to pick up. Blow it up again. Now I'm picking up the stitches on there. I picked up the stitches for this side, and I've picked up 49 stitches down there, and I've knit 5 rows. Well, I knit the first row and then knit 5 rows and knit 1 purl 1 rib and cast off loosely. So I started picking up the stitches on this side, and I see how many stitches I've got here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 29. That's 29. So I'm going to say 30, 31. Now when you have these little lumpy bits on the side where the berry part came close to the edge, I only pick one stitch up from there. So I'm picking 1 stitch there. I'm picking up 3 stitches and missing a stitch, so I'm missing every 4th stitch. So I'll pick 1 there. 1, that's 2, 3, missing the next one. 1, 2, 3, missing that next one. That's 1, 2, 3. I don't like that one. Pick up from there. That's a big hole there. 3. That's not much better there. I'll have to miss that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. With a rib there. I better count those stitches I've got on now. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 44, 46, 48. I'll have to take a few stitches off and make an extra stitch there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, take 7, 8 off, and I'll make 9 from those ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's my 49 stitches, and now I'm going to knit the first row. The first row is a knit, so you have a like an edge, like a garter edge. The very first row, that's where that knit row comes out on the right side. And so that's that one knit row, and now I'm going to do another 2 rows of knit 1, purl 1, rib, and then on the 3rd row I will place the buttonholes and then knit to 5 rows and cast off. So I'm doing knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1. So I'm on to the 3rd row where I'm going to place the buttonholes. So I'll put markers in evenly across. So I've counted, I put the first one in down there, and I've counted 1, 2, 3, 4 knit stitches and put it on the 5th one the same way. So I've spaced 4 knit stitches in between each marker, and I'll show how I do the buttonholes. So it's going to knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, and knit the stitch where the marker is. Bring the wool forward, knit 2 stitches together pretty loosely. You can leave that a bit loose, and then go on to the next one. Knit that one stitch where the marker is, bring the wool forward and knit the next 2 together. And carry on to the end of the row like that. So that's all the buttonholes placed. So I'm going to take the markers out, and now have another 2 rows to knit and then cast off. So I'm just going to rib those 2 rows. Casting off the last few stitches. So need to fasten that off now. I've left my little scissors in the other room. So that's cardigan all finished apart from the buttons. One or two ends to get rid of. So there, just have to sort out what buttons I'm going to put on. That's 5 buttons now to put on. The last button to go on. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Where the last one goes. So that is the end of the tutorial. That's a little cardigan finished. I think I'm going to have to work out not so many stitches. I think this one comes out a little bit wide. Not so many stitches for the sleeves as well. So if you like my video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll show you next time I do another tutorial. So bye for now. So for anyone wanting the instructions, I've got them all written down here. That's the first page. Second page. You might need to take a screenshot of these if you want the written instructions.